Facebook. We've just been talking about you. I hope you are all well. I was saying to Instagram, it's a very wet Wellbeing Wednesday here. And I'm just deleting this. I've got my brother trying to video call me. It's like literally 12:30 every Wednesday since it feels like the beginning of time. And of course, do people pay attention? No, they don't. Anyway, I did not accept the call because I'm talking to you guys. Very nice. Hi there, Amy. Nice to have you on Facebook. So, just to say, for everybody who's new, I'm on 2 platforms. I'm live at the moment if you're watching me in real time. Otherwise, if you're watching me on catch up, particularly on YouTube, hi YouTube. Oh my goodness, the YouTube audience is just growing and growing, which is really lovely. Nice to have you here. And we are making it in this format, especially for YouTube and also for Facebook, because it kind of seems to be better that way around. So I hope it works for you. You get a wider view of my studio. On Instagram, I have to do it this way, so you get kind of the top and bottom bit of me, and then the Facebook and the YouTube get the wider version. But just to say that if one goes down, you guys know what to do. Instagram, you hop over to Liz Earle Wellbeing magazine Facebook page, vice versa. Facebook, if there's an issue, I am live on Instagram at the moment as well. So head over to Liz Earle Me. So I thought what I'd do today is just have kind of quite a calm, gentle day, because it's hump day. Have you heard that expression, Wednesday, hump day, which is kind of like the hump in the middle of the week. And once we get through this, it's downhill to the weekend. Yay! Not that it makes a lot of difference, perhaps, to some these days if you're not working. But there we go. It's hump day, and it's going to be a good day, despite the weather. Hopefully, the rain will hold off, because where I am in my studios is we've got big glass roofs, and the rain can just pelt and sound very loud. And I know what you guys like on Facebook. I only have to open a window and you say there's a monsoon and a typhoon outside, so hopefully the rain will be okay. Hi Denise, hello, very nice, thank you for saying hi and waving. So as always, Amy is on Facebook and she will put links to some of the things that I talk about. Got lots of bits and pieces to share with you today. I've got some questions that have come in, so if you have questions, do please pop them onto Facebook especially, because that's where Amy is going to be looking to field me things, but also hopefully she'll pick up anything on Instagram as well, because I know, Amy, you can multitask, can't you? Yes, because you've got female brain. So I've got a lovely few questions here coming in, but I thought what I'd do to start with is just kick off with just a few bits of balance. I don't know about you, but I've been feeling a bit kind of up in the air. It's been a bit tricky this week. There have been a few things going on. So I have been relying more and more on my drops of balance. This is Life Armour. Lovely brand. I introduced this to you not that long ago. And they're the guys who do the drops of slumber for sleep. And honestly, everybody in my house now has a little bottle of Slumber Drops by their bed. It's like this bedtime ritual. And I do genuinely think they work to help get a good night's sleep. And what I like about them is they're drops. So they're not capsules, so it means they're instantly absorbed into the body. And this one, Drops of Balance, contains an interesting Ayurvedic herb, an Indian herb called ashwagandha. And if you look that up, you'll see that there's lots of interesting research on how it can just help in times of stress and anxiety, just to balance. It's one of these herbs that's called an adaptogen, so adaptogenic, a bit like ginseng, which is kind of a strange concept because it means that it has the ability to adapt to what your body needs. So if you need a boost and you need to be picked up, then it will do that. But if you need to be calmed down and de-stressed, it will also respond in that way. So quite interesting. I'm not sure how it works exactly, but adaptogens are something that are well known. And this has ashwagandha in it. Pop it under the tongue. Tastes quite pepperminty, which I quite like. And it's got other herbs in here as well that just help with the balance. Lemon balm leaf. Never had to pronounce that. Schisandra berry, which is also another very good calming, balancing herb. So, and it says on it, soothes and calms to balance body and mind. So there we go. My mind and body are calm and balanced. I hope yours are. How are you coping with everything? Tricky times, isn't it? Tricky times. But we just kind of carry on. And I think be positive, focus on the positive. Really, really important to do that. Written a lot about it, got lots of podcasts up there. If you are hunkering down against the rain at the moment, you know, maybe you're on a staycation, maybe you're out camping or caravanning or whatever, and you've just managed to grab a little bit of connectivity and tune in. So much going on the podcast that you can listen to. I did a fun podcast the other day with another podcaster called Jenny Falconer, who is a radio presenter and TV broadcaster, and she's a great runner, runs marathons and all sorts of things. And she has this podcast called The Run Pod, and she picked up, I think, on my Instagram that I was running, not like her, and not in any great way at all, but just a sort of a baby runner. Anyway, she invited me onto her Run Pod, which is about 40 minutes of chat, and people tend to listen to it while they're running. So it's got a bit of a running theme, but it's also about life and times, and we chatted about well-being, and of course I talked about HRT and menopause and all of that stuff. So I've had some really nice feedback, so thank you all of you who have listened to that and left me comments on that. Really nice to know that you enjoyed it, and it's lovely to kind of spread the word. I love podcasts. You know, I never thought that I would be a big podcaster, and my podcast kind of happened just organically by chance. It was never part of the big plan. I'd love to say I was so super organised and I decided that I was going to launch this podcast, and that's not how it happened. It really happened because my young team, most of my publishing team here are kind of millennials, and they're super into podcasts, and they just said, Liz, you really need to have a podcast. And I was like, oh, what's a podcast? It's not something that's on my radar really. And anyway, started to do it a couple of years later. You know, we've now had nearly 2 million downloads. I mean, it's amazing. So we renamed it recently, the Liz Earle Wellbeing Show, and you can find it across all platforms. So people sometimes say to me, how do I listen to a podcast? It's really easy. On your smartphone, whether you're on Android or Apple, you will have a little podcast app. And they use different platforms, but we load it up across all platforms. I think the main platform we load it to is Acast, and then they send it out to things like Spotify and iTunes and Google Play and all these different versions. So you'll be able to find it really easily. Just have a look on your phone and see where your podcast app is. And then if you also want to go onto YouTube, we recently started filming them. And again, this was a really bizarre thing, because I remember saying to my team doing the podcast, why do you need to film a podcast? Because it's just two people talking. You know, surely you just listen to it. You're not going to watch a podcast, are you? I said, no, Liz, you don't understand. People love YouTube so much, and they like to see who is doing the talking and your kind of body language, and if you're showing anything, then it just kind of brings it to life. So there we go. We have our podcast now loaded onto YouTube, and it's actually I've started watching other people's podcasts on YouTube, because it's true, you know, you like to see who is being interviewed and, you know, kind of eyeball them and see the dynamic on it. Could I recap on the turmeric tea? Yes, I will. Hi, Sarah from Switzerland. Nice to have you. Histamine post. Okay, so histamine. Yeah, a couple of quick questions there. Histamine, you need to head to lizearlewellbeing.com, my website. Just type in histamine and you'll see two links. I think there's one, Amy, I know that you'll be on it on Facebook doing the link, but there's a really good in-depth article on histamine intolerance, what it is, how to assess it, how to help it, you know, links to the histamine diet, and all of that you'll find on lizearlewellbeing.com. And then there's also a link to the podcast that I recorded with Dr. Tina Pears, who is the doctor who's helping Lily with her mast cell activation syndrome. So really fascinating. Oh my goodness, so much. I mean, our hormones and all these biochemical reactions that go on inside us, they're responsible for so much, aren't they? And if we can just start to just uncover a little bit of these things that can be so incredibly helpful, really easy to do, you know, they're not expensive, it's kind of basic stuff, but we need the knowledge, and a lot of this is nutritional cutting edge stuff. So a lot of our GPs don't necessarily have that knowledge of the new stuff that's going on in the world of kind of biomedicine and lifestyle medicine, and there are lots of medics working in that area. So do check it out. It's really good. Turmeric tea. Oh my goodness, I love that. Has anybody else made the turmeric tea bug yet? So the turmeric tea bug is something that comes in your Good Gut box. These have been flying, by the way. I know I mentioned this before. This is just a little box that you get if you head to lizearlewellbeing.com. You can order the Good Gut box, and it's got things like your SCOBY, it's got your kefir grains, it's got your creme fraiche starter, it's got your yogurt starters, all of that. And as part of that, there's the turmeric tea bug, which is a bit like a ginger beer plant. It's a fermented brew, so it gives you lots of probiotic goodness. It tastes delicious, and you brew it for about 7 to 10 days, a bit like a SCOBY. And you feed it with a little bit of sugar, and that turns into good gut bugs. So you end up with a low sugar product at the end because the good bugs feed off the fermentation process. And then you mix it with some fresh lemon juice and water, and it makes the most delicious drink. It's really good. You know, even my 10-year-old son, who is, you know, shall we say, a little bit fussy and, you know, loves his sweet cordials and, you know, is always going, oh, I want some Fanta. And I'm going, no, you're not going to have that because it just sends him off the scale. So I give him turmeric tea. And in fact, maybe I should carbonate it. You know, maybe I should get one of those soda streams and make it fizzy. And then it would look like Fanta, wouldn't it, being turmeric and orange, but it would be very different in composition. Anyway, he's drinking a lot of it and loves it. So that's the turmeric tea, if you fancy grabbing that. Now, talking of SCOBYs, one of the things that I was planning to do today here in my studios, and I thought I may as well do it live with you guys, is split out my SCOBY. So I wonder if Eamon and Ruth are watching this, because this is, of course, is what I shocked them with a couple of weeks ago on This Morning. This is a great discovery, and I've put a link in Linktree on Instagram, and also maybe, Amy, you can grab the link too. It is a kind of a crock, a kombucha crock, and I really like it. It's a company. I discovered this company. What's it called? Mortier Pilon, if that's how you pronounce it. But they do a lot of special pans and crockery and jars and things, especially for fermentation. So if you get into your fermenting, then it's worth investing in a really nice set of jars and containers that you can carry your ferments on with, because once you've bought your guts, your gut box, your good gut box with your 6 ferments in it, that's it. You never need to buy it again, because if you look after your grains and your turmeric bug and all the rest of it, and save your yogurt starter cultures for the next batch, and save your SCOBYs like I'm going to be showing you here, then you just carry on and on and on. In fact, you end up often with far too many that you need, and you can start giving them to friends and family and sharing them around. So I have got very clean hands. I've just washed them. So what I'm going to do here is take the lid off my little crock, and I'm going to get what am I going to do? I'm going to pop it in a Kilner jar, actually. Okay, so this is what you need to do after every kind of 7 to 10 days. Your SCOBY grows a new SCOBY underneath it, so you have to divide it. So this is what you do. So where is my tea? I made some tea. Here we go. So I've got my fresh brewed tea. I'm actually using green tea for a change. I'll often use different teas. I really like a good quality tea, so use an organic tea so it doesn't have the pesticide residues on it. I use an Earl Grey because I love Earl Grey, not just because my name is Earl, but I just really like the flavour of the bergamot, which is, I just think, a really delicious addition to tea. I know it's a kind of a love or hate thing, isn't it? But I really like Earl Grey tea. So anyway, in your good gut box, you get this. This is a company called Blighty Brew, and they do a really nice organic range of leaf teas, and this is a loose leaf green tea. So I made this just about 5 or 10 minutes ago so that it would infuse. And also you don't want it too hot, because if the water is really boiling, then it will kill the SCOBY. So you just need to have it kind of just a little bit hotter than blood temperature. So I am going to strain this into this jar. It smells great, actually. It's got lots of really interesting properties. Still a little bit warm, so I might just leave that. You can probably see the steam coming off it. Can you see that? Let me just move it here a bit and you can see. Oops. Oh, now I've dropped the tea strainer in the tea. That is the problem with doing things live. Now I've got to try and fish it out. Okay, let's start that again, shall we? There's always something, isn't there? Right, I'm going to tip that back into my teapot, because you don't really want tea leaves. I don't think it would massively matter, to be honest, but let's take them out anyway. Right, take 2. Here we go. Talking about disasters that happen on live TV. It was like when I was doing my kefir the other day with Holly and Phil, and it just exploded everywhere. Did you see that? Note to self, loosen the lids before you open anything on live television. I'm actually going to be back next week. I'm not sure, the producers haven't told me yet. It's either Monday or Friday, talking about herby things. I'm going to be doing some herb blends and how to preserve herbs and dry them and make your own herb concoctions. So I'll let you know. I'll post that on my Insta stories when I know which day. It's either, I think, the Monday or the Friday, and that will come live from my kitchen down in the West Country. So handy. You know, one of the few good things for me personally coming out of, all of this lockdown and having to be at home is that we can't now go into the studios at ITV. So the studios have to come to us, which is great. So I'm sitting there having a cup of tea in my yoga leggings or whatever, thinking, oh my goodness, I better quickly switch on my phone, or I do it on my laptop actually, so I can then join the studio, do that for like 10 minutes or so, and then be off and do something else. No travel, nothing, no stress. Love it. So I'd like that bit to continue, but actually I'd also like to get back to normal. Now into my tea, I'm going to put my sugar. Now you always need quite a lot of sugar, and this is kind of the scary bit. If you're new to kombucha, you might think, why on earth is Liz adding all that sugar? Because, she talks about low GI, low glycemic index. All my cake recipes are low sugar. If you look them up online, you'll all see that, they're made with much, much less sugar than normal. And the answer is, this is the food for the SCOBY. So we need to feed our SCOBYs. Yeah, we do. If we don't feed our SCOBYs, then they've got nothing to ferment and digest. Now, the purists will always say use wood when you're fermenting. And I've looked into it, I've tried to find some research on this and clinical evidence, because you know me, I like my clinical trials and I like everything to be evidence-based. I can't see anything that really is that bad about the metal. I think prolonged contact is what you don't want, so you don't want to brew something in a metal container or a metal jar. But, if you want to give it a quick mix with a metal spoon, I don't think it's going to do any serious damage. But hey, let's do it by the book and do it with wood. So I'm just going to dissolve that. So that's all ready. Still just a little bit too hot, I think. I just need to make sure that I protect my SCOBY. So I'll just put that to one side while that chills a little bit. Don't let me forget it. Lots of comments about what I'm wearing. Okay, so this is an old favourite. You've seen me wear it before. I love it. It's a linen mix, and it's from a great British clothing brand called Lavender Hill Clothing Company. And they're based in southwest London, so they're not a million miles from where I am at the moment. It's a really lovely founder-led brand, female founder. And I first came across her a couple of years ago, actually. I've got lots of bits of hers in my wardrobe. Really well made, lovely bamboo fibre, high quality. They manufacture in the UK, unusually for fashion, and in parts of Europe as well. And she's just, been a great brand to follow. I love her ethics. One of the things that she does, actually, which I really like, is they make these masks, really pretty cotton masks, and you buy a pack of 3. So they're quite comfy. This is one that I was wearing today. And for every pack that you buy, they donate another pack to a needy community. So whether that's a women's refuge or a kids community centre where they can't afford to go out and buy all these really lovely, nice, soft, pretty masks. And they donate them. So isn't that great? I mean, just what a lovely, lovely thing to do. And they've already donated something like 25,000 of these to the local community. And I just love that. I just love the opportunity to single out smaller brands who don't have big advertising budgets, so you don't really see them in very many places, and just give them a shout out. So they've given us a Liz Loves discount, so on their clothing, which I really genuinely recommend. I've put a link on Linktree on Instagram, and Amy, I know that you'll put one on Facebook. You don't get a discount on the masks, just to say, and that's because they're already kind of operating at a loss because they're giving away so many. But for everything else, they've given us a Liz Loves. I forget how much it is, actually. Let me just check on my list. I know I've got it here, and I know lots of you have already ordered from them. Where are they? Lavender Hill Clothing. There you go. Liz Loves, all in capitals, gets you 10% off on their website. So do check them out. So that's that. I'm also wearing, this is my ivy necklace, by the way. And just to say, ivy earrings, this is a bit of a last call because we did an amazing 40% off. They're fair trade, 24 carat, either yellow gold or rose gold vermeil. And they're handmade by artisans in Peru from fair trade gold that's been got out of the ground sustainably and environmentally. Very friendly. You know, gold mining is a bit of a murky business, and when I started my jewellery line a few years ago, I wanted to make sure that it was using the best quality materials. You know, I try and always go back and have good provenance of things and look at the supply chain and look at the ethics behind where all those ingredients are coming from, whether it's ingredients for food or ingredients for, you know, something beauty related or ingredients for jewellery. And, you know, what are the ingredients for jewellery? Well, the main ingredient is gold, or precious metals. And so that's why I went down the fair trade route, and I'm an ambassador for fair trade for the organisation. And I've been down a gold mine. I was the first white woman, in fact I think the first white person maybe, down a gold mine in Kenya, which was just being certified as fair trade, which was extraordinary. And I've written all about that actually, if you want to have a look, and I've got pictures and things on Liz Earle Wellbeing. If you just hop over there and look up kind of fair trade jewellery, then you can find it. It's quite interesting to see kind of behind the scenes. Anyway, these, I've just got the last few. We put them on sale. They are Ivy, I think all in capitals, Ivy 40 to get 40% off. I just love them. I'll just show you this. These are my rose ones. They're pretty. And they are, I was going to say anatomically correct. They're not anatomical, are they? Because they're not creatures. Botanically correct. So they're not just a kind of a splodge of a leaf. They are actually little ivy earrings. And they're based on an ivy earring that my mother always wore. And I just remembered it so fondly. And ivy, I think I've mentioned this before, is a symbol of fortitude and resilience and strength. And I just kind of remember that every time I put them in my ears. I just think, yeah, resilience and strength, fortitude, it's good. And they're the kind of things that you just pop in and forget about because they go with everything. Anyway, last call, not many left. Just thought I would mention that. Right, I think we're probably just about cool enough. Yeah, so this is kind of just warm. It's kind of blood heat. Thank you, Amy. You found my article on Fair Trade Gold. Thank you. So what I'm going to do now, again, clean hands, is I'm going to take this one. So this little SCOBY, my little SCOBY friend here, has been brewing for about 10 days in its warm sweet tea. I don't know, can you see that on Facebook? It's hard to know really with the angle now that I'm doing. Maybe if I can just move that down a fraction, that might be helpful. I'm always nervous though about moving anything in case I cut anybody off. Has been known. So what I'm going to do now is reach in here. Oh, be careful not to drop it. So it's quite slippery. It's like an alien being. And there we go. So you will see that this has actually split into two. Can you see? So what was one has now split into two. Got two SCOBYs. Two for the price of one. So I'm going to put one into his new home. This one can go back in here just for the moment. Just for somewhere to put it, really. But actually this is now ready to drink, so you can just drink that and you can have it neat, you can dilute it. If you're new to kombucha, you know, take it slowly. I think with all these fermented things, and I wrote about this in my little ebook. Oops, I can see you're on low power mode, Facebook. Oh dear, I hope you survive. Fingers crossed, I better be quick, haven't I? So yeah, so this one now is just ready to go. So I'm just going to cover him up. And then because he's fermenting, he will get slightly fizzy. So every few days or so, whenever you remember, you can just literally kind of lift the lid, burp the jar, go like that. But just leave that somewhere at room temperature, just somewhere nice and warm. If you're going away and you want to slow or stop the fermentation process of anything, same with sourdough, pop it in the fridge, because when they're chilled, they just kind of go to sleep for a bit, and then you can bring them out and reactivate them. So there we go. That's my next batch of kombucha, all ready to go. So this one I shall put to one side. Where's his little lid gone? His lid is somewhere. It doesn't matter for now. Let's pop him over there. Okay, that's my kombucha that I wanted to do today. The other thing I wanted to talk about today actually is, oh, there we go, there's his lid. So I'll just pop his lid back on. Is a really simple recipe that I was going to make actually for my store cupboard, which has come from the current issue of the magazine. Those of you who know the magazine will know that I always do a little feature called Liz Loves. And, sorry, not Liz Loves is at the end. Liz's Larder. Liz's Larder, so it always comes out backwards on the screen. But this is from this current issue, and which you now won't find in the shops. I think it's come off sale because a new issue is out next week, and of course it's not going to be in shops. So if you want to get this and you haven't got it yet, I suggest you head to Readly, which is the digital online platform, and you can get a month free if you follow the link. So I'll pop the link in Linktree, and also Amy, I know you've got the link for Facebook, but it's a great service. Those of you who don't know it, you can download limitless amount of magazines wherever you are in the world and read them at your leisure. So not just Liz Earle Wellbeing, but you know, literally any magazine that you fancy got, I think, over 10,000 different magazines. It's amazing. And you also have Liz Earle Wellbeing and our back issues. Not all of them, but they go back a couple of years. So it's a really good way of keeping all your magazines in one place. So if you haven't yet got the current issue, which is only out for another sort of week or so, and we sold out, our subscription sold out quite a while ago, so then Readly is probably your best option to get hold of that. So Liz's Larder, and this current one is all about preserving feta and turning feta cheese, which is, let's face it, it's quite bland, isn't it? Those of you who have tried feta, I've got some here that I've just picked up this morning from the supermarket, and it's a Greek cheese. It's a really healthy cheese. I like it, but it is not particularly tasty. It's not particularly flavourful. It's something that absorbs other flavours, so you need to kind of give it something to be flavoured with. So what you do is you take your block of feta. I hope you can see this. You really can't see this, can you, on Facebook? I'm just going to see if I can, or YouTube. I'm just going to see if I can move this down a fraction. Fiona from Leicestershire has asked if she can have a shout out and then she'll subscribe to the magazine, you cheeky devil. There you go. So you've got your shout out, now go subscribe. I hope you love it. I hope you love it when you get it. Just to say, if you want to subscribe now, we have actually pushed the button on the print run. So we did put a few more onto the print order just in case there were people who'd like been on holiday or been away and missed it. Okay, so Fiona, you can, if you're quick, subscribe and get the next issue, but you're going to have to be very quick, and you should, thank you for the thumbs up, you should also get your Neal's Yard voucher. We've got a few of those left. That's the £10 off anything at Neal's Yard, and you get your free issue, obviously, and you get your free UK postage and packing. So I know we have pressed the button to go to print, which is really exciting. I think maybe on Friday I might have the cover, because I normally get sent the cover as a proof first, so I might have the proof to show you what to expect next week when it will start getting mailed out. How exciting is that? September, October issue. Lots of autumnal treats, lots of kind of, oh, so many features. I won't talk about it now, but it's a really, really good issue. It's cracking. I'm so proud of my team. They've worked so amazingly hard to put it all together when we've all been working remotely in different places, and it's been amazing, actually. The magazine just seems to get better than ever, but there you go. Just shows what you can do, doesn't it, in times of adversity. So meanwhile, I'm sorry, Facebook and YouTube, but you can't really see. What I'll try and do is I'll try and hold this up so you can see. I will just cut it into chunks, and you could use halloumi if you wanted, but I think the feta works really well because it's quite crumbly and it's quite absorbent, and you can then preserve it and keep it kind of just infusing with really delicious flavours, just ready to have whenever you want, just to pop onto a baked potato or crumble onto a salad or anything like that. So I'm going to use, again, another nice preserving jar, and I am going to just sprinkle, just do it kind of layer by layer. So I'm going to do one layer of feta, and then I'm going to use some really interesting herbs, which I'll talk about. Now, I did a podcast recording the other day with Yotam Ottolenghi. Yes, bit of a name drop there. Anyway, it was fascinating, and he was charming, and he is just so knowledgeable about Middle Eastern food. He was born and brought up in Jerusalem, and a lot of his influences, all of the things like aubergines and artichokes and the spices and hummus and pomegranates and pomegranate molasses and all those things that he's kind of introduced the UK to in many ways. And we were talking about this particular spice called Zatar, and Zatar is something that he uses a lot in cooking. I don't know whether you've come across it. And it's really interesting. It's been a bit confused, the whole world, around Zatar, because Zatar actually means two things. Zatar is the name of a herb. There's an actual herb that grows in the Middle East called Zatar, and it's a bit like marjoram. It's kind of from that marjoram oregano family, but it also is the name that's given to a blend using marjoram and oregano and sesame seeds that get crushed, usually in a pestle and mortar. You can mix your own, and a bit of salt and seasoning, and then that makes the Zatar Blend. So Zatar can mean two different things. So I've got here a Zatar Blend, so this has got the sesame seeds in it, and a little bit of another really interesting herb that's a key ingredient called sumac. Sumac is another Middle Eastern herb or spice. So I don't know, you can't really, can you see if I show that? It's kind of, you can see it's a mixture of different things, that you can see the sesame seeds in there and these different herbs. So what you do is you basically layer your feta with a bit of Zatar. And this morning I was just checking to make sure that, you know, Zatar is kind of freely available. And I found one actually online, which I popped a link to in Linktree. I don't know whether you can grab that, Amy, to copy it. But it's actually of wild harvested Zatar herb, which is quite interesting. It's quite unusual to find the actual herb. So if you want to try that, it's really, really good. You can sprinkle it if you're planning any barbecues, if it stops raining. You know, you can sprinkle it onto pork or chicken or fish or halloumi cheese or avocados. You know, it transforms lamb. You can rub with Zatar. Really good. So I've just sprinkled some there onto my feta, and then I'm going to top this with olive oil. Now, you know me, extra virgin olive oil is totally where it's at. This is a lovely one. This is called the Governor. I just love it, such a pretty bottle. We've also got a Liz Loves 10% discount on that as well. So, Amy, it's another link for you there, and the link is on Linktree should you like it. Full of really good antioxidants and polyphenols. And one of the reasons why olive oil is so stable at higher temperatures, it's not just to do with the smoke point. People often talk about the smoke point of oils, and that is one factor, but it's also about the polyphenols that protect the oil. So you need those two things. You need to have a very high smoke point, and you need to have plenty of polyphenols to protect the oil. And olive oil has both of those things, which is why it's safe to cook with. And you don't have to use extra virgin for cooking. You know, you can just use pure olive oil, which is cheaper, but then save your extra virgin for things like this, where you really want that lovely green, almost like hay, mown grass flavour coming through. So I'm just going to layer that up. The other thing actually that needs to go on is lemon zest. So I've got my unwaxed lemon, which I've just washed, and I'm just going to grate a bit of zest into that. And again, you know, lemon zest is transformational, isn't it? I don't know whether you've seen my, you know, my breakfast recipe with yogurt and grated apple and almonds and seeds, one of my favourites. And that, when you just add a little bit of freshly grated lemon zest, again, it just transforms the dish. So I always have a little bit of lemon around. Now I'm going to do another layer and just pop that in quite quickly. And then once you've done this, it will keep for ages. You know, olive oil is a very good preserving. Oh, there we go. I've got low battery on Instagram as well. There we go. Hopefully you're back with me, guys. Yes, are you there? Yep. There we are. Lots of hearts. Thank you. That tells me that you're there. Thank you. Thank you. Hopefully Instagram. Yep. Hopefully. Yep. Got smiley faces going on Facebook as well. Good. It's really hard. You know, I kind of stand here on my own. It's like I'm talking to myself. But I know I'm not. I know that you're with me. And I can see, I can't actually read a lot of the comments because it's in little tiny print. But I can see there's lots of chat that goes on and a lovely community, which is really nice. So I've got my second layer there of the feta, and I'm going to pop in a little bit more of the grated lemon zest. Get the right side of the grater. Again, because you're using the zest, it's really important, if you can, to use unwaxed lemons. Otherwise, you're just kind of grating the herbicide wax into your preserved dish, which is not something that you want to do. So I always try and get unwaxed lemons, or if you can't, then just give them a really good scrub. You know, you can use a little bit of washing up liquid and a scrubbing brush, good old scrub, and then give them a good rinse, obviously, and then you can use that. So I'm going to top this up now with a little bit of olive oil and a little bit more of the Zatar. And you can be as generous as you like, really, with the olive oil, depending on whether you want to really soak it, because then you've also got a lovely infused olive oil that you can use. So you've got an olive oil that will be flavoured with the lemon zest and also with the Zatar. So there you go. So I'll pick that up so that you can see. There we go. Oh, delicious. Really good. Actually, it's making me hungry. So there we go. So then I've got my preserved feta chunks, which I'm going to keep, which look just like they do in the magazine. Et voila. Right, something else that I'm going to show you very quickly, which I love, and it's all about flavour. Many of you have been ordering, I know, the Weed and Wonderful, the smoked seaweed. Just love that. And again, this is so simple. It's how to transform a simple dish. This is going to be my lunch. So I've got 2 hard-boiled eggs and an avocado. And this is like the simplest thing. This is a really delicious, organic, pastured, so, you know, outdoor, free-range hen's egg, which I've hard-boiled. And I'm going to simply transform it with a drop of the intense smoked seaweed that just goes on. And this flavour is amazing. Has anybody got their Weed and Wonderful yet? I just think it is the best thing. It's one of those things that once you've got it, you never actually want to be without it in your kitchen, because it just transforms simple dishes. And the flavour, obviously I'm going to have a bite just so I can tell you exactly what it tastes like. Oh, that is so good. Simple things. You know, you could do a little egg sandwich, egg mayonnaise, whatever. Put it onto scrambled eggs. Just great. Tofu transforms plain ordinary tofu, transforms it. And then the other thing that I'm going to have is a bit of avocado. Lots of really good fats in my avocado. So I'm just going to slice that, and I'm sure you all know how to take out an avocado stone. See if I can do this without cutting my hand. There we go, just lift out the stone. Okay, and then I've got that there. And then I know you can buy special kind of fancy avocado knives and scoops and things, but I just use a normal dessert spoon just to gently lift that out. And again, you know, you could put a little bit of hard-boiled egg in there if you wanted. I am going to fill that with, yes, a few drops of my smoked seaweed oil, and there you go. That is going to be my lunch. You do get 25% off, by the way, with Liz Loves, all in capitals. There you go. So really simple. Couple of very quick questions before I go, just to answer a few queries. This is from Susie on Instagram. Hi, I'm 64, haven't ever been on HRT, but still getting hot and clammy. Could I go on to estrogel? Yes, you could. The NICE guidelines say it's very straightforward before age of 60. Once you go past 60, you will need to have a GP who really understands menopause and has, you know, done their menopause training. But there should be no real reason why not. Do head to menopausedoctor.co.uk. She's got lots of leaflets that you can download and information that you can take to your GP. I've obviously also got my e-guide, The Truth About HRT, which there's a big section in there about how to talk to your GP, how to explain, and the benefits, the health benefits of HRT. Still hearing so many horror stories. Will saffrosan help perimenopausal symptoms? Well, it might do. Saffrosan from the Naked Pharmacy. I know lots of you are loving that as well. I take that. I take 2 capsules now in the morning. It's really, you know, I think just whatever we can do at the moment to help with anxiety and stress and help us sleep. Again, you get your discount with Liz Loves, and do listen to my podcast with the founder of the Naked Pharmacy. He was a really interesting guy. Will it help with perimenopausal symptoms? Well, it'll certainly help with sleep and potentially with anxiety and low mood, take the edge off things. But of course, the only thing that can help with low levels of estrogen is replacing your estrogen. That is the bottom line. So, you know, if you are concerned about your estrogen levels declining, then do read my e-guide on that, and do look up people like Menopause Doctor. She's got a great app, by the way, Balance. Anybody downloaded that? It's a free app, Balance Menopause. Amazing. Lots of information and a great community there. Lots of chats going on. Claire on Instagram says, do you need to strain kombucha? No, you don't. You don't need to strain it. You may find that you get little strands of the SCOBY in the drink. You can drink it if you want to, but some people strain it. If you want it to have it completely clear, you could strain it. It wouldn't be a problem either way. I actually like the little strands. I like seeing them. If I buy a commercial kombucha and I see the strands, I like it because I know that it's made with the real stuff. How do you store a SCOBY? And that's from Jane on Facebook. So basically, if I go away, I will just take my SCOBY and I will pop him in a little plastic, Tupperware box or a jar with a bit of the liquid. It mustn't dry out, so you need to put, maybe half a cup of your tea in there. and just pop them in the fridge. Let them go to sleep for a few weeks and have a few weeks off. And I've kept them for months and months in the fridge. As long as they're sealed and they've got some liquid around them, they should be completely happy. Last question. Carol, Instagram, does the cheese go in the fridge? Yes, or somewhere cool. I mean, don't leave it hot, obviously, but I mean, mine's in a sealed jar, and if it was completely covered in oil, it would be preserved in the oil. So I think as long as they're cool, if you've got a cool cupboard or a cool pantry, or pop them in the fridge. Depends how long you're going to keep it for, to be honest. And just be sensible, I think, with all these things. You know, our noses are very good at sniffing out things that have gone off, or, you know, check for green whiskers, that kind of thing. But yeah, these people preserve in oil for a long, long time if it's completely covered. It's a very good and healthy way of preservation. By the way, if you do put it in the fridge, if you've used good quality olive oil, you know what will happen, don't you? All of you who've been with me for a while, who've been paying attention at the back of the class, will know that if you've got the real olive oil, extra virgin, it will go solid, because it is solid when it's cold, and that's how you can tell that you've got good quality olive oil. Pop it in the fridge. If it solidifies overnight, you know that you've got the real deal. So if you do that, then you just have to bring it back to room temperature just to let it melt. A bit like coconut oil, just let it melt at room temperature to liquefy. Thank you very much, Amy. You popped a link to the Balance app. I'm hoping actually to be recording a Friday 5 with Louise Newson and Dr. Louise for this Friday. So watch this space, because there's been lots of chat, obviously, ongoing sagas, estrogel, estradiol, I mean, just so much. So I hope that we're going to get through a few of those. Lots. Nice chat. Thank you. You're going to do that, Jane. Excellent. What's this? Oh, your oils should be there. I wonder which, and lots of people are ordering their oils. Brilliant. Absolutely lovely. Little olive oil, salt and black pepper on top of eggs. Yeah, really good. Turmeric also is really good. If you tried sprinkling a little bit of turmeric eggs, or just working a little bit through scrambled eggs, a bit of turmeric. Don't forget to add a little bit of black pepper, because you need the curcumin from the black pepper to make it a bit more bioavailable. But yeah, very nice to be with you. Cheered me up no end, actually, on this wet Wellbeing Wednesday, and I hope that I have you too. Lots to chat about. I'll be back on Friday, introducing a new, well, not new hopefully for you, but not new for me, favourite old fashioned brand. Really lovely, very, very small, so small she doesn't even have a website, so it's going to be a real kind of hidden secret thing. But I've got her to agree to take some orders from you guys if you want, with a really nice, beautiful dress, and it's a brand that I've worn for a while. Actually, you may have seen me whenever I wear anything of hers on Instagram. I get lots of comments about it, so I'm going to be introducing that to you. I've got another great British brand which I will be mentioning, and just more chat really. So if you've got questions, do please pop them on Facebook. I'll pick them up and try and get through them on Friday. Same on Instagram. I'm sorry I don't do direct message, it just gets overwhelming, but I do try and reply to all my comments below if you leave it. When I post this on Instagram, on my little Instagram TV, you'll see there's a section for comments beneath, and I do try either answer there on the screen or answer during one of my lives. So I look forward to seeing you on Friday. Have a lovely rest of the day, whatever you're doing. Hearts back. Thank you for all your hearts, and take care of yourselves. Sending lots of love. See you Friday. Bye.